owners coming in, new directors, all of that, they might just want to in for someone, pick their own guy. And I would say it's probably about a 50-50 chance that he stays or goes, in my opinion. So there's been a lot of talk as well, about who's coming in if he does leave. And this is quite a pivotal appointment because United have gone through quite a few managers in the past few years. And this is, if they do sack him, this will be the first appointment made by these new owners and directors. So, with that being said, it's quite an important one, and I'm going to rank really the candidates. So, I've basically just gone through the top 15 or so most likely candidates and people have been rumoured to take over the job, and then I'm going to put them in these tiers. So I'm going to go for chosen ones. So this is the person that I think is the perfect fit and should get the job. Good fit, someone who maybe isn't the guy, but I think they're decent for the Man United role. Solid, so yeah, not bad option, but have their flaws. Not happening. This is for somebody who may actually be a good fit, but I just don't see a world where it's going to happen. I mean, stay away. This is for, well, of course, the people who Man United should stay away from, and I don't think should be getting the job this time around. So I'm going to rank them not based on what I think will happen, what I personally would do if I was in the director's shoes. Of course, get in the comments below who you think should be the next Man United manager. If you think there even should be another one, or you would stick with Ten Hag, or let me know as well if there's anybody on this list who I've missed out. But I think I've got most of the favourites to take over the job. Okay, so also we might do this for other clubs as well if you like that. And you want to see that, please do leave a like on the video. So here are the candidates. So we have Julian Lopetegui, Thomas Frank, Roberto De Zerbi, Graham Potter, Gareth Southgate, Zinedine Zidane, Antonio Conte, Michael Carrick, Arne Slot, Simone Inzaghi, Andoni Iraola, Kieran McKenna, Thomas Tuchel, Hansi Flick, Unai Emery, Ruben Amorim, and Francesco Farioli. So those are the candidates. Now let's rank them. So we start with Julian Lopetegui. So of course, been out of a job since the start of the season where he resigned from Wolves, but actually did a pretty good job with them. Has a lot of experience. Has managed some top clubs like Real Madrid. Managed the Spanish national team. Didn't fare too well for Real Madrid though. Walked out at Wolves in quite a toxic environment, wasn't really backed, resigned. I think that might cause a bit of conflict potentially with the board and the owners. Of course they're new, but in the past, Man United have been a bit all over the place in terms of the board and stuff, so I'm not sure Lopetegui would like that at all. Sure, he's got good experience, I think he's a decent manager, but I think they should stay away from that in my opinion. He's quite a short-term manager as well. I don't think that's somebody Man United want. I think they want a bit more of a longer-term option. So Lopetegui, no. Thomas Frank. Now this is an interesting one. Thomas Frank, of course, Brentford manager, has done an incredible job there. Incredible job taking them from the Championship to a solid and kind of established now Premier League club. They've been in the Prem now for 3 seasons, and last season almost got European football. Has really stabilised the club. He works very closely with the board and the directors, and is very used to the board sort of making signings. Is all about data and has worked very well in that Brentford model. And I think that Brentford model is something that might happen in the Man United model as well. So I think it makes sense. I have concerns though if he's ready maybe for that step up. To a bigger club is all well and good doing that at Brentford, but can you do that at Man United? Who knows? His style of play is good in terms of he's shown he can be pragmatic and also progressive. So I like him as a manager. I think he's a good fit. I think he's a good fit for this role. It's a little bit of a gamble. That's why I don't think he's quite the chosen one. But I think it's a good fit. I think it's a good fit. He's shown he can help build up a club. He's been at Brentford for a long time as well, so I wouldn't, if he was appointed as Man United manager, I don't think Man United fans should be annoyed at that. I think that's a pretty decent appointment. Next up, Roberto De Zerbi. Roberto De Zerbi, of course, the Brighton manager. Received a lot of plaudits, especially last season as he took over Brighton, took them to Europa League. And this season, hasn't been as good, but they have shown good moments, got to the round of 16 of the Europa League. Have had quite a few injuries, but they've always maintained competitive, played some very, very attractive football, which I'm sure my United fans are going to be wanting. He is a bit of a fiery character. I'm not sure how much he'll gel with the board, but he's worked in the Brighton model, which is similar to Frank. That's something which I think United are trying to go down. I think he's very similar to Frank. I'm going to say he's a good fit. In terms of he's a gamble, can he do it at a bigger club? He plays good football. Sometimes can be, exposed, but I think overall he's a good fit. And again, if he was appointed, I think that'd be a pretty decent appointment. Graham Potter now. This was somebody who has been linked very heavily to the job as one of her favourites, actually, mainly because Jim Ratcliffe really likes him. And of course, Potter, former Brighton manager, last job was at Chelsea, where things didn't go too well. And I think he's kind of a perfect example with Frank and De Zerbi in terms of can they make that step up. Potter, when he got that step up to a Chelsea and it didn't really work out. However, as we've seen, I think actually this season has probably made Graham Potter look a lot better, because Chelsea, in retrospect, his job wasn't even that bad because we've done just the same this season. So Potter came into quite a hard job at Chelsea. As a Chelsea fan, I will say he does have quite a few flaws though, in terms of he struggled to really get his style of play implemented onto the side. He's not got any charisma. It's very sort of bland, boring, which I think, if results turn, United fans will not like at all. He's a pretty good manager though. Definitely a lot of the players did like him clearly at Chelsea, but you know what? I think he's solid. I wouldn't say he's a good fit necessarily, because I don't know if he's quite up at that upper echelon of manager. And ready to take a job at Man United's size and stature. He struggled under the limelight at Chelsea. Man United's that tenfold, so I'm not sure about it, but I think it's a solid option. I think if he was appointed, he would do okay, and if he was appointed, he would do decent, and he could certainly do a lot worse than Graham Potter. Okay, Gareth Southgate. So Southgate, rather a surprise favourite for the job. Lots of rumours of him potentially being on the shortlist. Again, due to those links with Jim Ratcliffe and Dan Ashworth, who he actually worked with Southgate at England, so he clearly likes him. Southgate would clearly get along with the board and that, but United, stay away. You have to. No way. For multiple reasons. Firstly, he's done a decent job for England, but that's international football. International football is so much different to club football. And if you look at his club career as a manager, it's pretty mediocre. And he hasn't been in the club game for a while, so that's quite a risk. Secondly, as a tactician, he's not great. Great, absolutely fantastic manager, as we've seen with England, you know. The way he's managed to galvanise the squad and get unity, fantastic. He would sort out that dressing room quite a bit. But tactics-wise, it would probably be like an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer kind of thing, where it's just vibes. It's just vibes, and there's not really tactics. Because yeah, stay away. Next up, Zinedine Zidane. Now, Zidane, again, a little bit of a surprise favourite for the job. Reports have said that, you know, he would be interested in taking the job, and United want him as well. So, you know, that's a bit of a surprise to me, considering that the Man United job has been available many times, and Zidane has been available during those times a lot, but never, he's always stayed clear. He's very meticulous in where he goes and what he wants. Zidane is a top coach, of course. He's won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. Even in his return to Madrid, did well, won the league there. He's a top quality manager, but as I said, he picks his stuff very meticulously, and I think he would do great at United. But I don't see it happening. For me, it's not happening. I just think it's unrealistic. As I said, the job has been available many times. He has said no. He picks his clubs very meticulously. He's not going to go to Man United, in my opinion, when they're at this stage of their thing. Maybe if United, you know, appoint another guy, and then they build up the club there to where they're competing for league titles. Maybe then he comes in. But for me, I don't see Zidane as sort of a project manager. I don't think that's what he wants. I think he's much more of a, I'll come in and I want to win. So I don't think it's happening. Antonio Conte has been out of the jobs since leaving Spurs. And to be fair, similar to Zidane, he's been linked to the Man United job many times. I think they were kind of close to getting him last year, in fact, or before he went to Spurs, which would have been interesting. And look, for all the bad, Conte is still a fantastic manager. He is. You can't dispute he's won league titles at Chelsea and Italy. He's a top manager, did well with the national team with Italy, and initially did well with Spurs, but it did come crumbling down. He's quite a toxic manager as well. When things don't go his way, he will say it, he'll clash with a board multiple times. I don't think that's the kind of person who will fit with this new structure of Man United in terms of their owner. And yeah, even though Conte is a top manager, I think they should stay away. I just think that ends in flames. And even though you might have a nice bright start, I just think it's not going to end well. I don't think the fans are going to be too behind him as well, considering how badly it ended at Spurs. So yeah, stay away. Next up, Michael Carrick. Michael Carrick is, of course, Middlesbrough manager. That is his first manager role, but he's actually already been technically Man United manager before. When Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was sacked, Carrick came in and I'm pretty sure was unbeaten in his games, in the few games he managed. So, I mean, that's something. He went to Middlesbrough to pursue his own career, and he initially did amazing, got them to the playoffs. This season has taken a bit of a step back, but still done pretty decent. He's definitely a good up-and-coming coach. As for United ties, I could see maybe in the future, somewhere down the line, he does manage United, but right now, they should be staying away far too soon. They don't want to do like a Frank Lampard situation. Yeah, good young manager, but not right now for me. Arne Slot. So Arne Slot is a Feyenoord manager, and has done really good job there. Won the league title with them, to the Champions League, got them Conference League semi-final, Europa League, got them in there as well. Is he going to come here and struggle? Potentially is a bit unproven. But for me, I think it's a solid choice. I think his style of play is good, it's attractive, he improves players a lot. He's an up-and-coming coach. It's a bit of a gamble, sure, but considering how many top clubs have wanted him, I think he's a solid manager. I think it worked well with the new directors and stuff. Therefore, I think he's a solid option. Simone Inzaghi is up next, the Inter Milan manager. And for me, this is straight in not happening. Now, I would say he would actually be the chosen one for me. He is the chosen one technically. Inzaghi for me is one of the best managers in the world. He's probably top 5 managers in the world right now for me. What he's done at Inter is truly terrific. They're going to win a league this year. Champions League final last year. Incredible in cup competitions. Incredible in Europe. Good, very, very attractive style of play, as well as also being good defensively. Very fluid. Maybe his formation is a bit rigid in terms of he always plays a 3 at the back, which I don't know how United fans would take to. But very, very good manager, very, very talented. Been at Inter for a decent while as well, so knows how to sort of build a project. But not happening for me. It's unrealistic in my opinion. I'm not sure. I actually think if an Inter Milan job right now is much better than the Man United job right now, which is a bit of a crazy thing to say in 2024. He's got a very good thing building at Inter. They're just going to win the league now. Got a good side. He's had his hold and footprint on that team for a while. And even if he was going to leave, I think there's a lot of better jobs he could get. For example, the Bayern job, the Barca job, even the Liverpool job. I think all of these guys might be looking at him, and he'll definitely take those before the United jobs. So I don't see him coming United. Andoni Iraola, the Bournemouth manager, has obviously done fantastic stuff at Bournemouth, and United know very well. As he pieced them up. What was it, 3-0 at Old Trafford, and then drew to them away this season. What he's done at Bournemouth has been truly terrific. The way he's managed to get his style of play so quickly across to the players is terrific. The way he's improved players like Dominic Solanke, turned him into one of the best strikers in the league, when at this point, the start of the season people thought he was a championship striker. Truly terrific. I think he's a good up-and-coming manager. I think he would actually do pretty decent at Man United, but for me it's not happening. I don't see him leaving after just 1 year at Bournemouth to jump ship and go to Man United. And I think United would probably be looking at other people before him. And as I said, it'd be pretty crazy if he was just to leave after 1 year. He looks like he's building something special at Bournemouth, so I think he'll stay at Bournemouth for now. Kieran McKenna is the Ipswich manager, and he's been amazing, very similar to Michael Carrick. He was at Man United for a long time. He was a coach there under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and did pretty well. Then left to pursue his own managerial career. Went to Ipswich. They were in League One. Got them promoted in his first season, and then in their first season of the Championship is now competing for a league title and back-to-back promotions. He's a truly terrific manager. Very, very good. Very talented. Similar to Carrick, I think one day could potentially be the Man United manager, but it's very young and it's a bit too soon. It's a little bit too soon. I think he's actually proven a little bit more than Michael Carrick over the course of his managerial career, but he's only had about 2 years in management, and it will be a massive risk, and I think it's just way too early to go and get him. Okay, Thomas Tuchel, and of course the current Bayern Munich manager, but not for long. Will be leaving at the end of the season. Not at the best of times at Bayern, to say the least. Obviously didn't win the league, but they are still in the Champions League. They're in the semi-finals, so could potentially do something there. Now Tuchel Chelsea fan, I will say, he was terrific for us. Very harshly was sacked. He doesn't really gel with the board too much, like he clashes with the ball quite a bit. But having said that, he's worked under quite, some bad boards. Like he worked on the PSG board, the Bayern board, the Chelsea board. We've got 3 owners who are not great. So I guess he's kind of used to bad ownership. So maybe he's good for Man United. His style of play is, okay. He really, really does improve players. Obviously, as Chelsea dies, I'm not sure how Man United fans would take to that, but then again, Mourinho came in. He's not necessarily some project guy, like he's not really a long-term guy. He's fantastic in cup competitions. He's a good manager. You know what? I actually think this is a good fit. I actually think it's a good fit. That might surprise some of you. I think Tuchel is a good fit for Man United, in my opinion. I think that he, as I said, he's good in terms of tactically fantastic, improves players which they need. I think the only real problem with him is the long-term thing, and the clashes with the board I think might happen. But I think Tuchel's a good manager. Whether or not it will happen, I'm not sure, as Barcelona might be lurking, but I actually think if they can get Tuchel, that's a pretty decent appointment in my opinion. Okay, Hansi Flick up next. Hansi Flick, so previous German national team manager and Bayern Munich manager. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I don't think it's happening. Don't think that's happening anytime soon. Hansi Flick, I think is actually a pretty good manager. Didn't work out in Germany, but was fantastic for Bayern Munich, and I think he'll do good things. But at the end of the day, I really don't see this happening. I don't think Man United are going for him, and I think he'll probably return to the Bundesliga. So I don't see it happening. But if it did happen, I mean, it wouldn't be the worst appointment in the world. Next up, Unai Emery. Now, kind of similar to Inzaghi, Emery would actually be maybe the chosen one potentially, because what he's done at Aston Villa has been nothing short of amazing. Taking them to, Champions League contenders, semi-final of the Conference League, so good in such a short space of time. Obviously didn't work out at Arsenal, so I do have concerns about him at that top level. But the way he's rebuilt the club is amazing. However, it's unrealistic in my opinion. It's not happening. Similar thing, it's crazy to say, but I actually think where Emery is right now in terms of the setup at Villa, he's got people like Monchi in there. In the background, he's got a lot of power there. Good team, got his imprint on that side. I actually think that's a more attractive prospect at Aston Villa than this Man United project right now. So I think he's staying, and if he was to leave, it wouldn't be to Man United in my opinion. Ruben Amorim, similar thing for me is not happening. Seems like Liverpool are heavily interested in him, and even if they don't get him, I think Barcelona are interested. So I think they're kind of United a bit lower in the pecking order, but clearly Amorim is a good manager, very young, very talented. Done well in Europe, done well in the Portuguese league as well. Plays decent football. Yeah, I think he's a top manager, but the problem is I don't see it happening because I think he's going to another club instead of United. Again, finally, Francesco Farioli is the current Nice manager, and he's done a pretty good job since joining them. They started off this season incredible. They were actually in a title race early on in the season, but they have really fallen off since the turn of the year. However, remain in the hunt for European football, Champions League football in Liga, which is very good, very impressive. And one of the main reasons he's so attractive is because, one, he's young, plays good football, but of course Jim Ratcliffe owns Nice, so he's very used to the ownership model under Ratcliffe. So if he wanted a bit more of a safer option who's already in the if you like, who knows how this is going to work. Maybe Farioli could be the one. And simply for that reason, I'll say he's solid. He's very young, very inexperienced, and I have concerns about that. I would usually say because of that stay away, kind of similar to McKenna and Carrick, you know. Maybe one day he'll be there, but he's very young and it's a bit too early. But simply because he knows the structure has worked within it before, I'll say solid. Right, so who am I putting as the chosen one? The chosen one, so if I was in charge, who am I appointing as Man United manager? Who makes the most sense? Okay, it's tough. It's tough. Out of these three, for me, I think this is going to be really, really unpopular. Really, really unpopular among some people watching this. But in terms of just making sense, I think it makes complete sense. It's actually Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank, for me, is the chosen one. When I look at it, Thomas Frank is Premier League proven. He has shown he can work for a very long time on a long project and has the longevity at a club. He can play adaptable football, very good tactically. He can adapt his football to be more pragmatic or progressive if needed. He improves players a lot. He works importantly within a model which is very similar to how Man United are going to operate. He doesn't necessarily get heavily involved in the transfers. He lets those directors and the board sort that out for him, which I think is what United want. And he's very much willing to, you know, Brentford say, okay, here's a signing, do what you want with it. And he's very willing to do that, and he does it. I think that's what's going to happen at United. So, all that being said, I actually think he makes the most sense. Sure, it's a gamble. He's never managed at this level. It might all crumble. But for me, I think that makes sense if Frank goes. Realistically, I think they might try and get a De Zerbi as their first option. And if not, I think they go Potter. And then if not, I think they go Frank. But for me, Thomas Frank is the chosen one. Anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video.